Good morning. Welcome back. How we doing? Alrighty. How's everyone doing today? Welcome back. Good morning. Good morning, everyone. Another beautiful day. Buenos dias. All right. 8 o'clock. Bright and early. We just broke 4,200 this morning. This is interesting. It's going to be interesting here. Actually got to turn this red for now. $42 is going to be big. Do we play this downside today? That's the question. Do we play this downside into 4170 today? It could be nice. And the NASDAQ, this right here, could be nice as well. All right, if we, I know we're getting started here early, but we'll go over it all again. I'll do it while people are jumping in. Right, this right here is very interesting on the NQ. All that. Definitely a watch. Definitely a watch. ES 4170. That's definitely a watch today. How's everyone doing? Welcome back. Hope you guys had a good day yesterday. Yesterday was a small red day for me. I have some unrealized positions. I don't think they're going to work if we see this downside today. So lost about $300 yesterday on some small plays. Just didn't really feel confident on the price action. Didn't feel like pushing it. Just kept it small. Threw a few potential setups out there, but if we see downside under 42, then I'll probably take a loss on those. But yesterday was pretty much a non-event for me. If you guys caught something yesterday, congratulations. Price action was pretty slow. Downside, definitely downside, but the way it was moving just wasn't really, didn't really have me have any type of real confidence. The man who said we wouldn't go down yesterday, you're totally wrong, Bobby. You're absolutely 100% wrong. There's absolutely no validity in that comment. What I said yesterday was that if you're above 42.20, you don't go short. And yesterday, you turned 42.20 into a rejection point. And I said if you're above 4,200, you have to be careful of demand there, and you're below 4,200. I did not say we will not go down. That is 100% wrong. And I just know that I know the type of person you are from just saying that. That's like the classic, like, oh, you said we wouldn't do this. And it's just, why are you watching? You got to watch the levels intraday. You got to react to what's going on. 42.20 turned into a rejection point. Very clear sign of downside. I said don't short into 14,477, and then you can see it turned into a rejection point. Don't short into 14,370. It held yesterday. Now today, you're potentially losing that. Oh, what a comment. Starting it out early. Let's go, baby. Let's go. Someone has to keep me honest. I totally wrong again, Michael. I didn't say we wouldn't go down. People that say you said it wouldn't go down, you're not listening. You're not listening to what I'm saying. You're listening you're coming here to try to, for me to tell you what's going to happen. That's not why you're here. I'm giving you the levels to watch and to see if it holds or if it turns into rejection points. That's why you're here. The 42.20 level that we said don't short into, right? I said don't short into 42.20. If you shorted into it early morning, you lost. You can see early in the afternoon, right? It turned into rejection points. Then your bias or your opinion has to flip intraday, right? So intraday, when you start to see 42.20 turn into a rejection point, right? That's where you say, okay, we lost that demand, and now we are starting to see that 42.20 turn into rejection points. So I have to assess, I have to reassess, and I have to adapt to what the market is telling me. And the market told me yesterday that 42.20 turned into a rejection point. Hey, I'm not gonna let I'm not here to let people say things like that. I'm gonna put you in your place. So, welcome back. A little drama this morning. I love it. I love it. What's up, Chef? Welcome back. You can go back to the live stream. You can watch, right? You can go back to the live stream yesterday. You can watch and you can hear what I said. You have to assess, reassess, adapt to what the market is giving us. We play the levels today. If 4,200, right? This is what I'll say today, right? This is what I'll say today. You don't go long into 4,200 today, right? You do not long into 4,200 today. That doesn't make sense. Now, if the market goes back above 4,200 today, right, and it holds 4,200, then we could look to long. And so what someone will come back tomorrow and say is, oh, you said don't long if we're under 4,200, and then we went up. That's because we probably regained 42 intraday. We turned it into a demand once again, and then we can play that upside. So as of this morning, right? As of this morning, you do not long into 4,200, right? You're not going to long back into yesterday's lows. But there is a chance that the market gets back above 4,200, turns it back into support, and then you can look to long, right? You have to assess and adjust to what the market is showing you. Very key. Good morning. Good morning, my friends. How we doing? All right. So today is May 31st, the last day of May. Futures, economic earnings calendar. Let's go economic. All right. Let's pull that up. Today, Wednesday, job openings, 10 a.m. I don't think much. Chicago Business Barometer, I don't think much. I don't think much here at all. Maybe a little bit on the beige book. Maybe a little bit of debt ceiling, right? Maybe there's some drama on the debt ceiling, but really nothing here on the economic side that's slated. Tomorrow, ADP employment, jobless claims, right? Manufacturing PMI, construction spending, normal Thursday, and then Friday, employment report, unemployment rate, average or U.S. hourly wages year over year, right? So I don't think that much. It's nothing major, just your normal weekly news that comes out, nothing out of the ordinary. I would just, of course, keep your eye on these events, make sure you're aware of them, make sure you watch out for maybe job openings at 10 a.m. While you watch levels, but not me. Watch the job openings at 10 a.m., see if there's any movement off that, all right? So nothing really there. And you can see right now, ES is starting to reject that 4,200. I don't really think anything on the economic or the earnings calendar. Actually, you know what? Yeah, there is. There's a little bit today. There's a few that probably are worth a watch today, honestly. So let me zoom in on this. Today, after hours, you got CrowdStrike, you got Salesforce, you got C3.ai. So this C3.ai, I'm a little bit questionable about this company. I don't really know. Maybe you guys probably know more about the company than me. But I need to look more into C3.ai. Is this a company that actually will benefit from this little AI phase, this little AI craze that's going on, or is this just because that there's AI in the name of this company? So I don't know. I'm a little bit concerned. I'm a little bit weary of this name. I need to learn more about it before I really talk about it here on the live stream. Is this just going up because AI is in the name, or is it actually a company that is going to benefit from in the future from AI? I have to read more, but that's my question mark there. Salesforce, CrowdStrike, two other big ones that have been hot lately. After hours tomorrow, right? Broadcom, that's a big one. That's been up insane over the last few weeks. Lululemon, MongoDB as well. So let's see. Those are what's reporting. This is my big question mark right here. C3.ai. All right. Tesla 200 SMA, big level there. Big SMA on Tesla, and it just can't get above it. So this is definitely something to watch today. Tesla at the 200 SMA. Semiconductors showing some weakness this morning. NVIDIA, AMD, TSM, MU. A lot of weakness on those semiconductors this morning. Worth a watch because semiconductors is the main reason that the NASDAQ is higher. And if semiconductors have some weakness, this could definitely affect the NASDAQ today. So definitely watching these names. Apple 176.50, big level today. Amazon, there's about a $2 range that I would be watching. Netflix 400 rejection, some energy weakness this morning, and then finally this little Costco setup that I'm watching. Some nice watches out there today. Let's go ahead and jump right into it. Let's get started. How do I access the TOS so fast? You press in the middle of your mouse. If I can get my mouse up here. Press this in right there. Press that in. And you get the tools. See that? Yeah, do that. I was at Carmine's. This weekend. He's like, "What the fuck?" He's like, "How'd you do that?" I was like, "You just press it in." And he's like, "Oh my god." Yeah, it's I don't think a lot of people realize that. You can press the space bar to duplicate drawings. You guys know that maybe. I can just duplicate the drawings with the space bar, press and delete. Makes it a lot quicker. All right. So, S&P 500 futures. S&P 500 futures. 4,200. Right? We know that. Right? We know 4,200. We know that's a level. We've seen this level how many times? Right? This level has shown up multiple times in the past. Right? And we are back at that level. This is still the line in the sand on the S&P 500 futures. So today, right, we wake up and we are below that level, right? We wake up and we are below that level. So there's a very clear way to trade today, right? There's a very clear way to trade today. You just watch 4,200. This is yesterday's lows. It's very clear right there. You can see yesterday we tapped 42, had a big demand bounce. We got that original demand bounce. We rejected that 42.20, and then we just sort of faded. So there was not much, right? Yes, it was a quick little squeeze off that level, but there wasn't much structure built, and we didn't actually start to build higher off that demand, right? It was just a little bit of a knee-jerk reaction, and we just are still fading that move. This does not look strong to me at the current moment. And for me, it's not possible to go long today if you are trading under 4,200, right? I'm not going to be looking to take longs down here, hoping that we get back above 4,200. That is the inverse of the risk to reward that you want to be looking for today. Today, as we stand at this very moment, the risk to reward is to the downside, right? You're risking 4,200, right? You have maybe a stop loss over 42, and your reward is down into the 4170, right? So your risk to reward is to the downside as I speak right now. Now, what most don't realize is that things can change, right? And so if we come into today and if we squeeze back above 42 and we start to see a demand form there once again, then the risk rewards flips to the upside, right? Then you're looking for that 42.20 with the risk to under 4,200. But that is not happening right now. So as we speak, if we are under 4,200 on the ES, I would be very careful on the long side today. I think that is a weak move. I think this should have built more structure, right? We didn't see any structure get built off that bounce yesterday. It was just a pop and then a fade. So if this continues to fade under 4,200, I think you have more downside here, and I think you have downside into 4,170, right? I don't think you're going to find much support between 4,200 and 4,170. So if you can just give up this Friday move, I thought there was a CNBC alert. If we can give up this Friday move, right, that could be a very nice trade today, right? This could be a very nice trade. Fade this thing off 4,200, target that 4,170 for about 30 points on the ES. This is a nice look. So I'm definitely going to watch this today, right? Does the ES stay under 42? If it does, can we fade to the 4,170 on the ES? Could be a nice little setup today. Could be a nice little, give back of this big Friday upside. So definitely a watch. Keep an eye on that. There's like 4186. I see that there. I think the way I think about this personally is you could watch the 4186. I see the level you're talking about. I think ultimately it will want to retest the breakout point. So maybe there's a little bit of drama at the 4186, but I would be targeting the 4170 personally, because I think you need to retest this breakout point right here, right? You just sort of squeezed, and I think you need to come back and retest it. There might be some drama at the 85, 86 level, like you said, Logan. Maybe a little bit there. So you can keep that on your charts as well. But ultimately, I think I want to see that ES retest that 4170. That would be something I'd look for. And then maybe it can build, right? It can build off this for the next upside move. Very possible, right? Just because we break down 42 into 4170 doesn't mean that we can't move up again. But that looks like the right move, the healthy move. Come back down and retest that 4170 level. So that's what I'm going to be watching today. The SPY, again, it's real difficult for me to get behind a long entry, right? If you're below this double top and you're below the rejections from yesterday, right? Why look to long this into these rejection points up here, right? So that's tough, right? For me to feel confident on longs on the SPY, I'm going to want to see this thing back over 421, right? If I want to be confident on a long, I want to see this. I want to see this previous rejection from yesterday. I want to see this rejection from last week turn into a new support. Then I can look to long off that level. So under those levels, it makes it difficult for me to get behind a long entry because you're basically just trading into that supply above. I don't like that. What I would be watching today is this 418 level, right? This 418 held last week. You guys can see it held like this Monday and then this Friday of 2 weeks ago, this little 418 level. If you break that 418, then I think you have your downside into that 414, 415 area, which is 4170 on the ES. Basically targeting this downside move, right? So watch 418 on the SPY, watch 420 on the SPY. If we break that 418, I think you have that downside continuation here on the SPY into that 415, 414. All right, so NASDAQ. This is going to be big, right? This is going to be a big level for NQ, guys. 14,330 is this little low from Friday. It's this little area that consolidated. It's this little low from last night, and we are sort of breaking that level as we speak. We're right at it right now. There is not much between that 14,330 and that 13,960 below. This is a big move on the NASDAQ. And if we give back some of this move, right, even if we give back 50% of this move, you're down to 14,260, 14,200, right, on the 61.8. The 78.6 is down at 14.9, right? So you could definitely give back some of this move. Now, what triggers the breakdown? I think it's a break of this yesterday low. It's a break of this pre-market low. It's right where we're sitting. 14,330, I think, is the move. So watch out for that level today. You are sitting right on the 4th and inches as we speak. There looks to be some type of support back here on Friday, like in this 14.3 area. How strong do I think that really is? Not that strong. There's a little bit of previous highs on Friday around 12 or 14,260. Do I think it's that strong? Not really. 14,240, right? I don't think these little areas here are going to really assist the NASDAQ to hold up. They could. So if you want, you can put these on your charts, these little pivots from Friday. But I think ultimately, if we stay under yesterday's lows, right, and we stay under this 14,330, then I think you're ultimately targeting this pullback on the NASDAQ to possibly even retest that previous breakout point, which is still a bullish move, right? Retest the double top, retest this previous high here, and then come back and see if it turns into a demand, right? That's still bullish. It's just giving back this pretty ridiculous move on Friday, if I have to say so myself, right? That's ridiculous. That's not normal. That's not healthy, right? So typically, you give back those types of big moves, right? So when there's opportunity like this on the upside, there is typically opportunity like this on the downside. So we'll see, right? We'll see. So watch this 14,330. Keep an eye on that level today. I think that's very important. On the QQQ, I think it's right around this 348. 348. So if I look at this chart, go to the 15-minute, it's right around this 348.50, 348 level. If you break this level, I think you have that downside possibility down into that 340, right? That previous breakout point. So we'll see, right? Or, right, on the flip side, or the NASDAQ holds here, right? That demand steps in once again, and we just sort of, push higher and maybe push into that 14,470 again, right? So we have to watch both sides. But as of right now, I would really be focused on this Friday move. If I go to the volume profile, once again, you will see there's not much volume in that gap, right? There's not much volume in that gap. This is definitely the juicy move to potentially catch here. We'll see. All right, so keep an eye on that. 14,330 on the NASDAQ. I think you watch that. If you stay under that 4220 on ES, I think that's important. And then on the QQQ, you guys can see it's right around that 348 level where this volume starts to die off and you possibly get that move back into that 340 area. All right, so watch out for that Friday level. Michael, thank you, man. Appreciate that. Appreciate that, Michael. I never post losses. I just talked about a loss this morning. I literally just talked about how it was red yesterday in the beginning of this live stream. I'm not going to post a $100 loss on YouTube. I mean, it's just a pointless video. It's a pointless waste of my time. I'm not going to post that I lost 0.01% of my portfolio yesterday on some $100 plays. All right. Anyways, Russell and the Dow. So, middle of this channel, nothing in the middle of the channel. It's all right. I like it. It's fun to me. I love it, man. Dow, nothing. Middle of the channel, nothing here. It's just a slow slide. Maybe demand down at that 32.6, right? Nothing really on the Dow. Nothing really on the Russell. They're just sort of quiet. There's really no action over there. There's really no action over there. So keep an eye on that ES 4200. Keep an eye on that NQ 14330. I think those are your main levels today. If there is downside today, and if it is led by tech, right? I was talking, Beck brought this up in the Discord, which I agree with him. The downside on the NASDAQ might be the most aggressive, right? It might be the one to catch, right? It might be like a QQQ type of day. Something on the tech side. Because if there is downside, this might be the most aggressive move on the NASDAQ, right? All right, so let's continue. Tesla. 200 SMA, right? We talked about that 204 level yesterday, right? If you guys came to the live stream, you remember we said 204. 204 is a big previous rejection point. We have a previous low here. We have previous rejection points here. And yesterday we pushed right into 204, right? And we had some pretty nasty rejection candles. Look at those 204 rejection candles. Very nasty. So today, we're sort of just flatlining. The 200 SMA is right here at 200, right? That has been a hard level for Tesla to get back above. It's sort of just flatlining right at that 200 SMA. It looks to me like it's between 204 and this 198, right? 204 and this 198. Previous highs, previous lows, right? 198. So keep an eye on that. 198, right? And 204. That's your channel on Tesla. If you break that 198 and you turn yesterday's lows into rejections, right, then I think you can see that move into 194. This is pretty much just a pre-market gap up, right? This is just a pre-market gap up. And if you move under that 198, I think you can fill that 194 to 198 gap up. So keep an eye on that 198 level today, all right? If you maintain that 198, Tesla could try to maintain here and push again into 204. So it's all about that 198 level. Keep an eye on that on Tesla. Does it hold 198 or does it break and hold below? That'll be your sort of trigger for your trigger for the next move on Tesla. God, Andre, thank you, man. $19.99 to cover some of your losses. Thanks, man. I appreciate the donation. Thanks for supporting the channel. That's awesome. Thank you so much. So 198 on Tesla. That's the big watch. I would be cautious longing Tesla into this 204 though. Extend the 200 SMA. So I don't really like the risk reward for upside. You might be able to catch a little 198 long into 204. I think that's possible. I would be more interested to see if this 198 turns into a rejection play and then to fill this little gap here, right? If we can fill this gap right here, that could be a nice little trade back in the 194. All right. So keep an eye on that. All right. Let's continue. Semiconductors. NVIDIA. NVIDIA under 395, I think, is a little bit of a problem for NVIDIA. This is a previous double top rejection here. 395, 395. And this is like the 395, 400 range right here. I think if NVIDIA is under this red zone, I think it's a little hard to get behind a long, right? I think it's a little hard. What did I do? I think it's a little difficult to get behind a long entry, right? If we're under 395 and we're under this high at 400. This is not really a level that I want to be longing back into here. So being cautious of that. Being cautious of that 395, 400. NVIDIA right now is trading below it. So if we stay below that, I would probably target this little Friday close, this 390, right? This little 390 Friday close here. And if we break under 390, then I think you could be targeting like these channel lows here around this 376, 375 area, right? In this area here. This could be your next target, right? So watch 395. I personally would not long this back into 400. The only way I long NVIDIA here, in my opinion, is over 400, back into support. Very strong demand starts to step in. You can visibly see the buyers. Then I would look to long NVIDIA. Until that happens, I don't think that's something I want to get behind, right? So careful of 400, careful of 395, careful of this zone. If we stay under that zone, watch 390. And under 390, I think, is where you can get some more slippage. But just think about risk reward in this sense, guys, right? Do you really want to long back into this rejection, back into this rejection? I don't think so. If you see this and you start to see this rejection right here turn into support again, right, then I could see that upside play. All right. Let's go AMD. So AMD actually just broke this 123 level. That's a key break on AMD. AMD should trade back to 120 here, without a doubt. I think this looks pretty clear for a 120 retest. This little previous high, right? I think AMD probably wants to retest this 120 and then see what happens at that point. So I would be looking for AMD. Semiconductor is very weak right now. If we stay under 123 on AMD, right? I'll press my space bar and move that down, right? Very quick. That's a nice little trick on TOS. if AMD stays under that 123, then I think you have that slip towards that retest, right? This is just a pre-market move right here. This move right here between 120 and 123 is all pre-market. This is a pre-market gap up. So, yeah, I like that. I'm going to look to see if AMD stays under 123. If it does, I'll target that 120. That's something I'll definitely target today. MU is very weak this morning. I'm not sure if there was news, but it just sort of gapped down in the pre-market, and it's at a very major level here. It's at a very major level here. It's at this 70 level. This 70, 68.50 level. You guys can see right here, previous highs, previous lows, and we're sitting right at it. So MU, back under 70, if it breaks under 68.50, I think you're moving back down into that 64. If I go to the daily chart, I'll show you why 70 is so important. All right, if you missed this in the past live streams, 70 is a very important level here on MU. You can see 70 previous lows, 70 lows, 70 lows, 70 lows. I think it needs to hold 70 to maintain strength. If it does not hold 70 here and breaks this 68.50, I think you're going to come back down to retest this 64 here. Right? That would be where I'd look for MU to come back down into. So watch 68.50. Watch this 70 range, right? It's about a $2.50 range. If we hold that 68.50, if we maintain that 68.50, then we could try for that upside again. I think if we break that, you're coming down into that 64. TSM under 100, I think, is a problem, right? I think that's not good for TSM strength, for momentum, right? This is a little $100 double bottom right here, and we have broken that right here on TSM. TSM is now trading in pretty much a vertical move from 97 to 100. It's about a $3 straight up move. So in my eyes, right, if TSM stays under 100, you're going to try to retest this previous high at 97, right? That's how I would look at this. So if TSM stays under 100, all right, I would look for that rejection of the previous lows, right? Look for these lows to turn into rejections. And if that happens, then I would look for this move into 97, into this previous high. If it breaks 97, you look for these previous lows. And if it breaks that, then you're coming back down into this 93 previous high here. All right, so watch these levels, right? Watch as this stair steps lower. First 100, 97, 95, 93. Those are all the key pivot points here on TSM. All right, so keep an eye on that 100 today. Nice psychological level. Could be a nice level to short off of if we see weakness on semis. AI, I'm not going to do technicals on. It's just a straight up squeeze. I don't know about this company, man. This is just a straight up squeeze out of nowhere, obviously because the AI phase, the craziness that's going on. You're pushing into some pretty nasty weekly chart levels here. This 44 to 50 area doesn't look that inviting. If I go out to, let's say, the 10-year, right, this 44 level doesn't look that inviting. If we're just reading technicals, now, of course, technicals on a name like this, do I trust it that much? Not really. But this 44, all these lows here at 44, you guys can see 1, 2, 3, little triple bottom at 44. You can see it's causing some problems this morning, right? Look at this. So you can see we're starting to see some problems here at 44. So watch out for that on AI if you are trading that today. All right. Let's go Apple. So this is a very interesting chart on Apple. I'm not sure how to take this, right? Because this looks bullish to me. But, of course, the NASDAQ is going to have to the NASDAQ is going to have to see some upside, right? All right. Let's get this guy out of here. What an idiot. Why are you here? Why are you wasting your time? Oh, man. Poor guy. Poor guy. Anyways, you guys can see right here, previous highs, 176.50, right, on Apple, right? 176.50 on Apple. Very key previous high, right? Very key there. Push to the upside, right? Pull back. That's a bull flag. That's a bull flag retest. So, interesting, right? This is bullish, right? That's a bullish setup. So I have to be cautious being too bullish on this, right? Because the NASDAQ is sort of breaking down, right? NASDAQ sort of breaking down around this 14,330. So if the NASDAQ breaks down, then I don't want to be long Apple on a break and retest because I know that the NASDAQ weakness will bring Apple lower. Now, if the NASDAQ shows me some strength today, Apple might be one of the ones, one of the main ones I look for to hold this 176.50, turn this previous high into demand, which it already has yesterday all day, and then see if this thing starts to flag out of this on any type of NASDAQ strength, right? This could be a really sick setup. It's very textbook. You can sort of envision it already, right? We've seen this count, time after time. So watching that 176.50 on Apple, right? Really interesting there. That only works if the NASDAQ has strength today. 15-minute chart on Amazon. You guys know we talked about this 122 level yesterday on Amazon, and look at that level yesterday. It just could not get above that 122. Every attempt at 122, it just got brutally rejected. Watch out for that 122 again. If we do not get above 122 here, right, if we sort of push into 122 and reject again, right, eventually, if we keep rejecting, I think you need to come back to this 120. So you have this little $2 range on Amazon. I think there's going to be opportunity here, but we have to wait to see which direction. We got to see either a break and hold over 122, right, or we got to see a break and hold under 120, right? That's really the move. There's going to be opportunity here without a doubt because under 120, you have this very low volume push, right, at these prices, low volume at these prices. If you get a move under 120 on a little break and retest, I think you could see that downside. And also, flip side, if you get a break and hold above 122, I think you can get that upside. So I think there's going to be opportunity, but what we have to do is ignore the price action in here. All right, we got to wait until this thing breaks and holds either side. Either way, I think it's something you keep on your charts and you sort of watch to see which side breaks. Netflix 400 rejection was nasty yesterday. You guys know we talked about that one. It got above it and quickly got nailed. I mean, that's a nasty candle, right? That's the nastiness of Netflix right there. Big push through 400 and then a huge downside rip, right? From 405 right down to 385, about 20 points, right? What is that, 30 points? Yeah, that's 30 points. No, 20, sorry. 20 points. So 20 points just within like 10 minutes. So that was a nasty move on Netflix. That 400 is going to be tough, right? That 400 is going to be tough. If we go out to the weekly chart, right, we know there's some 400 rejections here on the weekly. That's going to be a tough level. So keep an eye on that on Netflix. In my opinion, if I zoom out here, in my opinion, I think you need to get Netflix to retest the 375 level, right? That would be the healthy move. Los Franklin, thank you, man. Thank you for always supporting the streams. I appreciate that. You guys are generous today. I appreciate you guys, the generosity. Hopefully you guys are finding value from the live streams. I appreciate that, Los Franklin. I think ultimately you are going to need a pullback to the 375, right? Right here, 375. That's sort of that retest level. That's where you have come back to that previous high, turn that into support, and then maybe you can build another healthy move to the upside. Right, you look at what happened after this big squeeze on Netflix, right? You get a big squeeze, you sort of pull back slowly. Big squeeze, this could be your little slow pullback here into this 375, right? So be careful of 400. I don't really think the long is there anymore into 400. I would rather see this slowly pull back into this 375, and then you can look for that upside again. All right, so just be careful of that 400 supply above. Energy. I just wanted to point out some energy weakness this morning, guys. Make sure you're aware of it. Energy is still moving lower. It's still relatively weak, right? It's been weak since November of last year was really the high. That's crazy. So November of last year was really the high. Got a little bit of strength here in January, and then since then just sort of been fading this XLE move. 77 was a big level, and it just broke. If I go to the weekly chart, actually, you know what? I think it was on the daily that you saw that more. Let me get more time here. And I got to delete these SMAs because they're just a mess. Okay. So, yeah, this 77 was pretty important, right? And we can see on the XLE, you have this little consolidation here, this previous high here, previous high here, previous lows, right? You have this 77 level that's been pretty important. You could bring this down to these lows around this. The recent lows are around 76, so maybe you want to bring it down to that. But energy is something to monitor because of the ES, right? If the energy starts to weaken, if energy continues to weaken, that's going to continue to affect the S&P 500. Big part of the S&P. You can see right here, 76 is starting to find a little bit of demand this morning. If I go to the 4-hour chart, right, you can see we're sort of right on that line, right on that 76. 76, 76, 76, 76. Big level to watch on the XLE. If you guys go around some of these sectors, right, this is something you need to be paying attention to. Some of these spider sectors, which are all the S&P 500 sectors, are very weak. For example, the XLP, this is retail. This has been very weak for 3 weeks straight now. XLV, healthcare, has been very weak for about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 weeks now. That's 6 weeks of red on the XLP. The XLV, I'm sorry, this is healthcare. Sorry, yeah, XLV, the healthcare sector. The XLF, right? That's financials. That's obviously been very weak. So this is why you're seeing some inability to move higher on the S&P, is because all these sectors just aren't really getting that much momentum. All these surrounding sectors, everything besides technology, has been very weak. Healthcare, consumer staples, energy, right? Financials, just not that strong, right? Not that strong. So just keep an eye on that, all right? Last thing I wanted to point out in today's live stream was this little Costco break and retest that I'm spotting, and something I am long, which I don't have the highest hopes for. And for anyone watching that thinks I'm not going to share my losses, I am in a Costco call right now. If Costco breaks under 503, I will take a loss. Can you believe it? Can you believe it? I know it's not all you guys. I know it's just the one person in the room, but 503, right? This is a nice little break and retest on Costco. Break above 503, pull back. Yesterday we held that very nice. I like that, right? So I'm going to monitor that 503 level on the Costco. Costco needs to break this 513 area, right? This 513 area is going to be really tough on Costco. If we look at this 4-hour chart, right? This is the 4-hour chart, and you can see that 513 looks a little bit tough right here. So we need to get above that. But I like this little 4-hour break and retest, right? I like this little 4-hour break and retest right here. Look at how these previous highs turned into support, right? So that's interesting to me. I sort of like that. I'm going to keep an eye on that Costco. I'll go over Shop. I'll go over Enphase. I saw you guys keep talking about Enphase. Shopify needs to hold 57. That's a key watch for me for this flag to work out. So watch that 57. That has to hold there. Enphase. What's Enphase been up to? Yeah, Enphase is curling back a little bit. Why do I have this 175 level on here? There must be something there that I don't see in the longer term. Okay, that's why. So if we zoom in here on Enphase, you can see this little previous high at 174. 174, 175. Watch out for that. Yeah, so watch 174, 175 on Enphase. It's this little high right here that's starting to reject. It needs to get above that. Above this one, actually, you know what? I'm going to put an alert here. Above that 174, 175, this has a pretty decent move to 182. It's a decent watch. I'm not going to look at Google if you continue to spam the chat. I'll look at Google because I wanted to look at Google anyway, but please do not spam the chat. Google just rejected our 127 level that we talked about yesterday pretty much perfectly. We said that yesterday, if we're under 127, look for rejections. That was sexy. It looks pretty much sideways. I don't really like anything here on Google. It looks like it's 127 to 124 or 123, right around here. I wouldn't trade Google until it's out of this channel. Either above 127 or below this 123. Right? AVGO has earnings tomorrow, Quentin. I don't think it's worth us looking at that stock, to be honest. I mean, who knows, man? I mean, it's up ridiculous amount. If there's ever a time to YOLO $50 on earnings, it's probably now. But I don't know, man. Earnings are tomorrow. This thing's been up ridiculous amount. I mean, it went up 35% in like 3 days. So, all right, guys. I think that's all I got. What's the ES doing? Let's do a little recap of the futures. The ES is still under 4,200. That's very important, right? If the ES stays under 4,200, the downside could continue. The momentum could start to gain on the downside. The NASDAQ is potentially breaking this 14,330. That's very important as well. All right? I'll go over Meta real quick. I did miss that one. We'll go Meta, and then we'll get the hell out of here. If you guys could take 1 second, press that like button, that'd be great. If Meta stays below yesterday's lows, you look for downside, right? This is very clear. 261.50, 262. Look for the break and retest of yesterday's lows. This is a setup that you have to be able to look for yourself, right? Something that you have to be something you have to wake up every morning and look for. Are we below yesterday's lows? Are we above yesterday's highs? If we're below yesterday's lows, I want to look for that yesterday low to turn into rejections, right? And think about this logically. If the lows of yesterday are turning into rejections, if where the market was able to maintain yesterday turns into a rejection the following day, there is nothing bullish about that, right? That is the most confident short entry you can possibly have, is a rejection of the previous day lows. And that is possibly what you're about to see here on Meta. So definitely keep an eye on that. But tomorrow, right, someone's going to come into the live stream and say, you said Meta is going to go down and it went up because it regained yesterday's lows. We'll kick them out of the live stream. All right, guys. Have a fantastic day. I hope you guys enjoyed the live stream. If you did, press that like button if you could. Get us to 1,000 likes. I appreciate the donations today, guys. Very kind of you. $50 in donations today. Thank you so much for that. That's very generous. And if you guys did donate, you know, hopefully you come to Carmine and I's meetup, little meetup in Miami. I think we're going to push it back to October. That's because of Carmine is somewhere to go in August. So we might have to push it to October. It's also not going to be as hot in October. So if you come to that in October, if you've ever donated to the live stream, drinks on me. All right? Make sure to let me know. Take a screenshot. All right, guys. Have a fantastic rest of your day. Have a fantastic trading day. Be safe out there. And I will see you guys tomorrow. Peace out.